Martijn, je bent curator van het Stedelijk Museum. Wolfgang Tillmans nu hier. Waarom die keuze?
Nou, we hebben eigenlijk al lange tijd een relatie tot het werk van Wolfgang Tillmans. We hebben hem 10 jaar geleden laten zien in From the Corner of the Eye. De tentoonstelling in het kader van de Gay Games, of die we ten tijde van de Gay Games hebben gemaakt. En daar heeft hij toen ook een grote zaal gemaakt met zijn werk, een installatie. En we wilden eigenlijk altijd al werk van hem aankopen. En dat heeft een tijd geduurd, maar na overleg en met hem praten zijn we dan nu tot een aankoop of een voorgenomen aankoop. We gaan nog bij allerlei fondsen het geld bij elkaar krijgen.
Je hebt het nog niet binnen.
We hebben het nog niet binnen, maar het gaat wel lukken hoor. Het gaat lukken. Dus, ja, we wilden heel graag een installatie van hem, omdat dat natuurlijk een belangrijk aspect van hem is. Hè, hoe hij met werken in de ruimte omgaat. En het is natuurlijk een manier om een groot overzicht van zijn werk ook in 1 keer binnen te krijgen. Dus ja, we vinden hem een belangrijke kunstenaar in de zin van dat hij natuurlijk kijkt naar het hedendaagse levensgevoel, maar ook een heel eigen blik op abstractie bijvoorbeeld heeft. En abstractie is een belangrijk element in de collectie van het Stedelijk ook. En nou, in deze installatie Stedelijk Room, die hij speciaal voor het Stedelijk heeft samengesteld, komen al die verschillende elementen van zijn werk naar voren. En het is een hele rijke, gelaagde installatie met zelfs verwijzingen naar Amsterdam.
You were here 10 years ago at the exhibition From the Corner of the Eye. That was a groups exhibition. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, and it was also a historic exhibition. I think it was the first exhibition in a major museum in the world that was dedicated to art by gays and lesbians, which was sort of felt like quite a milestone. And actually in one exhibit of mine I have also displayed a poster which I made at the time for the Gay Games, which was also the first fully abstract work that I made. So in a way there's also a 10-year anniversary of
abstract work
having gone fully abstract, which now there are some big examples here in the show as well. I always think of myself as an artist who is totally out as gay, but who doesn't necessarily make gay art. I photographed him as a sort of person. I was attracted to the guy in the picture, and only as a side effect was I aware that it's William of Orange. And so the picture is part of a small group of pictures where I photograph paintings as if they are people. So he's like kind of really looking at me, and I looked at him. I didn't look at it as an art historical reference. I didn't look at it as a Dutch reference. But of course now, doing the show here,
yeah, it's.
I thought, but so he's obviously also he has a gay side to him in a way. I find. He's sort of from the corner of the eye looking at the guy across the room.
Okay.
So there is, but those are things you don't need to know. No? They are, but when I compose such a room, I do of course think through things on different levels, no? and how do they sit next to each other? What is diagonal? I mean, each individual picture is always supposed to function on its own, but at the same time it is also a 3-dimensional installation that you can walk in, and that has a spatial dimension. I think the building is really quite interesting, no? With the different layers. Tomorrow night Tiga is playing upstairs, and here's
in Club 11.
Yeah, and here's the National Art Museum. It's not national, of course. It's the city of Amsterdam.
Dit is een manier ook om hem voor het eerst te presenteren in het SMCS, het Stedelijk Museum CS. In deze zalen de laatste tentoonstelling die we hier maken. In september gaan we eruit. Maar nu dus in het kader van een keuze uit de collectie. En dat is een hele aardige manier om iets anders eens een keer met de collectie te doen, door de blik van een hedendaagse kunstenaar.
You made a choice from the collection of the Stedelijk. What are the things that you choose?
One is the strong tradition of minimal and conceptual art, like this cube by Larry Bell, or the Taroni painting, which are juxtaposed in this room, or connected in this room with a painting not very often shown from 1968 by Mata called Vietnam War, and clearly political side of the collection, which there are quite a few examples of here as well, and also the Marshall Rye's the green picture with the neon corner and also
leaves on it.
Yeah, and the blinking heart on the outside. I mean, there is a lot of the spirit of '68 and the '70s in this museum, and I think at the moment one is only too aware that a lot of that is being pushed back again in politics. Also in Holland, there are conservative forces trying to push back the advances of the
70s.
Yeah, of the last decade, and that's something that I address also in this tables installation. This is an amazing book called Gay Semiotics from 1977 by Hal Fisher, and it sort of, in a semi-scientific way, decodes what then at the time was, I guess, the first full gay sign language. Yeah, also the positivity that they radiate, no? That everything was about potential and possibility and self-expression in the most positive way. Obviously, completely pre-AIDS crisis and pre all the jadedness and tiredness that has invaded the gay scene today. Also.
It was the beginning in San Francisco, maybe, or in New York.
The book is from San Francisco,
okay.
And so I put this here also a bit as a reminder of to remind us of where this all came from, and then where we are at the moment, with two examples of newspaper articles. One about homophobia in Eastern Europe, which we well know about, I think, the crazy politics in Russia and Poland, but also an article about the Dutch Christian Democrats' policy towards gays, and what we take for granted is constantly under attack, and I've always had a strong awareness of that. And on these tables, I discuss things that I can't do without words. There are certain things that I can do in my pictures, and others that I feel are important to me, and I want to inject into, and I want to use my ability to speak publicly. The political is not just relegated to the tables.
Okay.
The pictures of people in like this wall is in general about how you feel in your body, how people deal with their bodies, and it's about a fearlessness, which a freedom from fear, that in itself is political. That
you feel free, or
that you feel free in your body, or that you are okay in your body. This playfulness that you have throughout this wall of people in their bodies is a great precondition for peace amongst people. Or something so strikingly beautiful and stunning like the police helicopter is actually highly charged politically. It's a scene of an eviction of a squatted house in the East Village in New York.
Okay.
And that, it's like beautiful, wow, but it's actually, like a picture of violence.
And has a meaning, yeah.
I feel there is always a connection of surface and content. There is not a division between deep and shallow. It's often the surface is very meaningful.
Welke werk van Wolfgang zou je zelf in je huiskamer willen hebben?
Ik heb er al eentje.
Je hebt er al eentje.
Ik heb geleden eentje gekocht voor mezelf en dat is A Man Pissing on a Chair.
Dat is geen verrassing, Martijn. Maar afgezien van dat, welk werk zou je nog meer willen hebben?
Ik vind dit wel een fantastisch werk. Die police reddingshelikopter.
Ja.
Dat vind ik subliem beeld.